There is a strange moment that often occurs when the noise of ordinary life begins to disappear. The messages stop arriving. There is no conversation to manage, no audience to impress, and no immediate demand telling you who you are supposed to be. At first, this silence may feel peaceful, but if you remain in it long enough, something unexpected can happen. Thoughts you believed you had forgotten return, emotions become harder to avoid, and familiar memories begin to acquire a different meaning. Solitude does not necessarily create these inner experiences. More often, it removes the distractions that prevented you from noticing them. Carl Jung believed that conscious awareness represents only part of the human psyche. Beneath the identity we present to ourselves and the world, there are forgotten experiences, emotional complexes, rejected qualities, and unrealized possibilities. Jung referred to many of these contents as belonging to the personal unconscious. They may influence our decisions even when we cannot clearly explain why we repeatedly choose the same relationships, fear the same situations, or react too strongly to particular people. From a Jungian perspective, solitude can become valuable because it creates enough psychological space for some of these patterns to become visible. But this idea requires an important qualification. Solitude is not automatically healing, and isolation is not a substitute for friendship, medical care, or professional therapy. Spending time alone can encourage reflection, but prolonged loneliness may also intensify distress. The purpose of this discussion is therefore not to romanticize withdrawing from life. It is to explore 4 ways intentional. Balanced solitude may help you observe the unconscious patterns that continue to shape your life, and how you can respond to those discoveries with curiosity rather than shame. 1. Solitude reveals the identity you perform for other people. Most people do not behave in exactly the same way in every environment. You may speak differently with your employer than you do with a close friend. You may appear calm around your family even when you feel anxious. You may present confidence online while privately questioning your direction. This adaptability is not necessarily dishonest. Human beings need so. Before you go, if you're looking for a simple way to reduce stress and find more inner peace, I have something for you. Check out the ebook, The SIM Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity. It only takes 5 minutes a day and can help you build a calmer, clearer mind. The link is in the first pinned comment, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to The Trauma of Being for more content like this. Social roles in order to participate in families, workplaces, and communities. Jung used the term persona to describe the social face through which a person relates to the outside world. The persona performs a useful psychological function. It helps us communicate, cooperate, and understand what a situation expects from us. A teacher needs a recognizable professional role, just as a parent, physician, or community leader does. Problems begin when the role stops being something we use and becomes the only identity we recognize. A person may become so attached to appearing strong that admitting exhaustion feels like a personal failure. Another may identify so completely with being helpful that saying no feels cruel, even when constant compliance produces resentment. Solitude temporarily removes the people who normally confirm these roles. There is no colleague waiting for the competent version of you, no relative expecting the peacemaker, and no social audience rewarding the entertaining personality. Without those external reflections, you may experience an uncomfortable question. Who am I when nobody needs me to perform? The initial answer may be confusion. This does not necessarily mean that your public identity is false. It may mean that it has occupied so much psychological space that other parts of your personality have received very little attention. Consider someone who is known as the reliable person in every relationship. Friends call when they have problems, co-workers assign additional responsibilities, and relatives expect this person to remain emotionally composed. The identity produces approval and a sense of purpose. But during a quiet weekend alone, that individual may discover intense irritation, fatigue, or even a desire to disappear temporarily from other people's demands. The emotion can feel inconsistent with the reliable persona, so it is quickly judged as selfish. Yet the irritation may be communicating something important. Reliability has gradually become self-abandonment. This is where solitude can expose an unconscious bargain. Many personas are built around an implicit exchange. If I remain useful, agreeable, successful, or emotionally controlled, I will be accepted. Such a bargain may have originated in childhood, but it can continue directing adult behavior without ever being consciously examined. The person does not simply choose to be helpful. They may feel that refusing a request threatens their belonging. What looks like generosity from the outside can therefore contain genuine care, fear of rejection, and suppressed anger at the same time. The goal is not to destroy the persona. Before you go, if you're looking for a simple way to reduce stress and find more inner peace, I have something for you. Check out the ebook, The SIM Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity. It only takes 5 minutes a day and can help you build a calmer, clearer mind. The link is in the first pinned comment, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to The Trauma of Being for more content like this. Jung did not suggest that people should abandon social roles and express every impulse without restraint. A functioning persona remains necessary. The healthier objective is flexibility, recognizing that your role is part of you without confusing it with the whole of you. The reliable person can remain dependable while developing boundaries. The confident leader can admit uncertainty. The peaceful family member can express disagreement without believing that conflict will destroy every relationship. A practical way to investigate this pattern is to write down the 3 qualities people most frequently use to describe you. Then ask what qualities you rarely allow them to see. If others describe you as calm, perhaps you hide anger. If they praise your independence, perhaps you conceal your need for support. If they admire your ambition, perhaps you refuse to acknowledge exhaustion. The purpose is not to assume that every public quality has a dark opposite. It is to notice whether maintaining that quality requires you to silence legitimate parts of your experience. This exercise becomes valuable when it produces more choice. You may realize that you have been performing competence when you actually need assistance, or performing indifference when you care deeply about an outcome. Awareness allows you to decide when a role serves the situation and when it limits you. Solitude reveals the performance, not by proving that it is fraudulent, but by showing you the parts of your personality that continue to exist after the audience has gone home. 2. Solitude makes repeated emotional reactions easier to notice. Some emotional reactions seem much larger than the event that triggered them. A brief criticism can occupy the mind for several days. A delayed response from a friend can produce a powerful sense of rejection. Seeing another person succeed may create irritation that feels disproportionate and embarrassing. In the speed of ordinary life, people often explain these reactions by focusing entirely on the external event. The colleague was insensitive, the friend was inconsiderate, or the successful person was arrogant. Sometimes those judgments are accurate, but they may not tell the entire story. Jung developed the idea of emotionally charged complexes, clusters of memories, beliefs, feelings, and expectations that can operate with a degree of psychological independence. When a present situation touches one of these sensitive clusters, the response may be shaped by more than what is happening now. A minor disagreement can activate years of feeling unheard. A supervisor's neutral question may awaken an old fear of humiliation. The complex does not make the emotion imaginary. It helps explain why the emotional intensity exceeds the immediate circumstances. During social interaction, there is rarely enough time to examine this process. We react, defend ourselves, send a message, or rehearse an argument. Solitude creates a pause between the trigger and the story we tell about it. In that pause, patterns become easier to compare. You may recognize that several unrelated people have produced the same feeling in you. The faces and circumstances changed, but the emotional conclusion remained identical. I am being abandoned, I am not respected, or I must prove that I am valuable. This recognition can be humbling because the mind prefers explanations that preserve its innocence. It is easier to believe that every problem comes from difficult people than to consider how our own expectations participate in recurring conflicts. Yet self-reflection should not become automatic self-blame. If someone treats you poorly, acknowledging an unconscious pattern does not excuse their behavior. It simply allows two things to be true at once. The external behavior may be unacceptable, and your history may amplify or shape your response to it. Imagine a person who becomes deeply distressed whenever a partner asks for time alone. The request may be reasonable, but it is interpreted as proof that the relationship is ending. In solitude, this person might remember earlier experiences in which emotional distance preceded abandonment. The current partner did not create the original wound, but the present situation activates its expectation. Without awareness, the person may demand reassurance, monitor communication, or provoke conflict, behaviors that can place additional pressure on the relationship they are trying to protect. The same mechanism can appear in professional life. Someone who grew up receiving affection mainly through achievement may experience ordinary workplace feedback as a threat to personal worth. Instead of hearing, "This project needs revision," the unconscious pattern translates it into, "You have failed, and failure makes you unworthy." The person may become defensive, overwork to exhaustion, or avoid ambitious projects entirely. Solitude can help separate the practical message from the older emotional interpretation attached to it. One useful method is to keep a trigger record. Write down what happened, what you felt, what you immediately assumed, and what action you wanted to take. Later, ask whether this emotional sequence has appeared in other situations. For example, when someone takes time to reply, "I feel anxious. I assume I have offended them. I want to send several messages." The repeated sequence is more informative than a single incident. It reveals the internal rule operating beneath the reaction. The next step is not to suppress the emotion, but to test the interpretation. What evidence supports your assumption? What evidence challenges it? Is this person behaving like someone from your past, or does the situation merely feel similar? What would a proportionate response look like? These questions bring conscious reflection into a process that previously operated automatically. The feeling remains meaningful, but it no longer receives complete authority over your behavior. This is one of the most practical benefits of understanding unconscious patterns. The discovery creates a small but important distance between feeling and action. You can recognize the voice of an old complex without pretending it does not exist. You may still feel rejected, criticized, or threatened, but you are less likely to treat that first feeling as unquestionable proof. Solitude becomes useful because it provides the quiet in which emotional repetition can finally be seen as repetition. Before you go, if you're looking for a simple way to reduce stress and find more inner peace, I have something for you. Check out the ebook, The SIM Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity. It only takes 5 minutes a day and can help you build a calmer, clearer mind. The link is in the first pinned comment, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to The Trauma of Being for more content like this. 3. Solitude exposes the qualities you project onto other people. Think about a quality in other people that immediately irritates you. Perhaps it is arrogance, laziness, emotional neediness, selfishness, or the desire for attention. Your reaction may be entirely understandable. These qualities can genuinely cause harm. Jungian psychology, however, invites an additional question. Why does this particular characteristic produce such a powerful reaction in you? Why does it remain in your mind long after the interaction has ended? Jung associated many of these intense reactions with the shadow, the qualities, impulses, and capacities that the conscious personality does not want to recognize as its own. The shadow is often misunderstood as a hidden collection of evil tendencies. In Jungian thought, it can also contain healthy qualities that were discouraged or rejected. Assertiveness may enter the shadow of someone taught that expressing needs is selfish. Creativity may be suppressed by a person who learned to value practicality above everything else. Even joy, ambition, and confidence can become shadow qualities. Projection occurs when we experience an unrecognized part of ourselves primarily through another person. Someone who has rejected their own desire for recognition may become unusually judgmental of people who seek attention. A person who never permits themselves to rest may condemn others as lazy. Someone who suppresses anger may be fascinated by aggressive personalities or may perceive hostility in ambiguous situations. Projection does not mean that the other person has none of these qualities. It means that our reaction may contain information about ourselves as well as information about them. Social environments make projections difficult to detect because other people reinforce our interpretations. We tell a friend about the irritating coworker, and the friend agrees. We collect examples supporting our conclusion and ignore contradictory evidence. Solitude removes the immediate social confirmation. When we replay the encounter alone, we have an opportunity to ask why the behavior affected us so deeply and whether the rejected quality exists in some form within our own personality. Suppose you strongly dislike someone who talks openly about their achievements. Perhaps that person truly is boastful, but reflection might reveal that you were taught to minimize your own success. You may resent not only their arrogance, but also their freedom to claim attention you have never allowed yourself to receive. The unconscious lesson is not that you should imitate their behavior. It may be that you need a healthier relationship with your own accomplishments, one that allows honest pride without requiring superiority. Positive idealization can also involve projection. We may become fascinated by a person who appears unusually brave, creative, or independent because they embody qualities that remain undeveloped within us. We then place them on a psychological pedestal and underestimate our own potential. If the person disappoints us, admiration can quickly become resentment. The quality we believed belonged exclusively to them may have been asking for expression in our own life. This is why shadow work requires nuance. Not every criticism is projection, and it would be dangerous to use Jungian language to dismiss legitimate concerns. If a person is manipulative, abusive, or consistently dishonest, boundaries and external action may be necessary. Psychological reflection should never become an excuse for tolerating mistreatment. The question is not, is everything my fault? It is, what portion of my reaction belongs to the present situation, and what portion may belong to an unrecognized part of me? Try choosing one person you strongly criticize and listing the precise qualities that disturb you. Avoid broad labels such as terrible or toxic. Be specific, interrupts others, demands admiration, avoids responsibility, or changes opinions to gain approval. Then ask where a milder version of that tendency appears in your own behavior. You may not interrupt aloud, but perhaps you stop listening while preparing your response. You may not openly demand admiration, but perhaps you become resentful when your work is overlooked. The purpose of this exercise is responsibility, not humiliation. Everyone contains contradictions. A person can be generous and occasionally selfish, courageous and sometimes avoidant, compassionate and capable of resentment. Integrating the shadow means developing the capacity to recognize these tensions without collapsing into shame. When we accept that a trait exists within us, we gain more control over how it is expressed. What remains unconscious is more likely to act indirectly. Solitude helps because it weakens the instinct to defend our social image. Alone, we do not need to win an argument or prove that we are the good person in the story. We can examine our reactions without immediately converting them into accusations. The result is not moral perfection, it is a more accurate understanding of human complexity, both in ourselves and in the people we encounter. 4. Solitude reveals the life you keep avoiding. Unconscious patterns do not appear only through painful emotions. They can also be recognized through persistent desires, fantasies, and interests that the conscious personality repeatedly dismisses. You may imagine changing careers whenever work becomes quiet, yet convince yourself that the idea is unrealistic. You may feel drawn toward creative work, but keep postponing it until life becomes less busy. You may desire deeper relationships while repeatedly choosing people who remain emotionally unavailable. Distraction allows these contradictions to remain unresolved. A crowded schedule can become a socially respectable form of avoidance. Constant entertainment ensures that no unanswered question remains audible for long. When solitude removes these distractions, the same thought may return again and again. Its repetition does not automatically prove that it is wise or that it must be followed. But recurring inner material deserves investigation, especially when it points toward a neglected area of life. Jung described individuation as a movement toward greater psychological wholeness. This does not mean becoming completely independent, endlessly introspective, or superior to society. It means gradually recognizing more of the personality instead of living exclusively through the roles and expectations provided by others. From this perspective, the unconscious does not contain only wounds from the past. It can also contain unrealized possibilities and directions for future development. Consider someone who has built a successful career around competence and security. During periods of solitude, this person repeatedly imagines teaching, writing, or creating something that feels personally meaningful. The fantasy may be dismissed as irresponsible because it conflicts with the established identity. Yet, ignoring it does not make it disappear. The person becomes increasingly irritable, emotionally flat, or envious of those who pursue creative work. The rejected possibility begins expressing itself indirectly. The appropriate response is not necessarily to resign immediately. Dramatic action can be another way of avoiding careful reflection. Instead, the person might explore the pattern through small experiments, taking a course, teaching one class, writing for 30 minutes each week, or speaking with people working in the desired field. A recurring inner desire becomes useful when it is tested against reality. This protects the individual from both extremes, permanently suppressing the possibility or romanticizing it without understanding its demands. Solitude may also reveal how we reproduce the very situations we claim to want to escape. A person who says they desire intimacy may repeatedly select unavailable partners because emotional distance feels familiar. Someone who wants autonomy may remain in environments where every decision is made for them because responsibility creates anxiety. Another person may complain about being overlooked while avoiding every situation in which their abilities could be evaluated. The conscious goal and unconscious strategy move in opposite directions. Before you go, if you're looking for a simple way to reduce stress and find more inner peace, I have something for you. Check out the ebook, The SIM Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity. It only takes 5 minutes a day and can help you build a calmer, clearer mind. The link is in the first pinned comment, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to The Trauma of Being for more content like this. This contradiction is easier to recognize when we examine outcomes rather than intentions. Ask yourself, what result keeps appearing in my life? What decisions usually precede it? What short-term discomfort do those decisions help me avoid? For example, choosing unavailable partners may avoid the vulnerability of genuine intimacy. Remaining silent may avoid immediate conflict while ensuring long-term resentment. Perfectionism may avoid the risk of public failure by preventing a project from ever being completed. The unconscious pattern often protects something. Even self-defeating behavior may once have served a psychological function. Avoiding attention might have reduced criticism in childhood. Excessive independence might have developed when support was unreliable. Constant achievement may have created safety in an unpredictable environment. Recognizing the original purpose allows us to treat the pattern with compassion while also evaluating whether it remains appropriate in adult life. This is an important distinction because people rarely change through self-contempt. Calling yourself weak, lazy, or broken may reinforce the very defenses you want to understand. A more productive question is, what is this behavior trying to protect me from? The answer may reveal a fear of rejection, helplessness, conflict, or disappointment. Once the fear becomes conscious, you can search for a more mature form of protection: boundaries, preparation, communication, or gradual exposure to uncertainty. Solitude, therefore, becomes a place for honest negotiation between the life you have constructed and the life that continues to seek expression. Not every fantasy should become a plan, and not every uncomfortable situation means you are on the wrong path. The value lies in listening carefully enough to distinguish temporary dissatisfaction from a persistent developmental need. The unconscious pattern becomes visible when you notice not just what you say you want, but what your repeated choices actually create. Conclusion: solitude can reveal unconscious patterns because it reduces the external noise that normally organizes our attention. It may expose the identity we perform, the emotional triggers we repeat, the qualities we project, and the possibilities we continue to avoid. Yet insight alone is not transformation. A person can understand a pattern intellectually and still reproduce it. Change begins when awareness is translated into a different response. setting one boundary, questioning one assumption, taking responsibility for one projection, or testing one neglected possibility. Jungian psychology does not ask us to eliminate every contradiction. It asks us to become more conscious of the forces competing within us. The dependable person may also need rest. The peaceful person may carry legitimate anger. The independent person may desire support. Psychological maturity involves holding these opposites without allowing one side to erase the other. Solitude can help begin that conversation, but the insights discovered there must eventually be brought back into relationships and ordinary life. Healthy solitude should make your participation in life more conscious, not become a permanent escape from it. If time alone consistently produces overwhelming anxiety, hopelessness, or thoughts of harming yourself, reflective exercises are not enough. Reaching out to a qualified mental health professional or trusted source of support is the more responsible step. Jung's concepts offer a lens for self-examination, not a diagnosis and not a replacement for care. So the next time silence makes you uncomfortable, do not immediately assume that something has gone wrong. Pause and ask what becomes audible when distraction ends. Which role are you tired of performing? Which emotion keeps repeating? Which quality in another person produces an unusually strong reaction? Which part of your life have you postponed for so long that avoidance now feels normal? The answers may not be easy, but they can reveal where conscious choice has been replaced by unconscious repetition. If this exploration helped you understand your inner patterns from a new perspective, subscribe to the channel. Here, we examine Jungian psychology as a practical tool for reflection, always connecting the ideas to real decisions, relationships, and emotional experiences. And in the comments, tell us which of these 4 patterns you have noticed most clearly during moments of solitude. Your experience may help another person recognize something they have been unable to name.